Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's
All right, I wanted to put this one up first. This is the cross-section of the penis. Well, not necessarily first, but I wanted to show you this alternate slide. Our slide is a little odd. I'll show you why. And this will make more sense once we've gone over reproductive. So just keep that in mind. If you're feeling a little lost with this slide, it'll make more sense after we've done that system. So this is a diagram, of course, and so you have three cylinders of tissue, okay, in the body of the penis. These two are called the corpora cavernosa. This is one cylinder, this is the other cylinder, and then there's another one, a single one over here. And they're both all three are a combination of smooth muscle elastic tissue. To notice here, this is the corpus spongiosum, this cylindrical tissue here, and in the center is the opening. What's that opening called? Yeah, that's the spongy urethra. So that passageway passes through this structure called the corpus spongiosum. Spongy urethra over here. Corpus spongiosum is the cylindrical structure. Okay, so these are corpus cavernosum, and plural is corpora cavernosa. There's an artery in the middle of each. And so there is also a layer of collagen fibers that surrounds them and sort of separates them out, called the collagenous sheath, that goes around like this, in here, and a little bit in between. Okay, and on our slide, so let's come out of there. Started with that one because it happened to be up. All right, G18.
Sarah, is
Yeah.
Collagenous sheath, is that also on the exterior, like all around?
Yes.
Or just in between?
It's all around, yeah. Okay, so this microscope, as you know, is higher power than even yours, so we can't get the full view, which is why I like to supplement with the picture when I'm testing you on this one, because we can't get the full view, just like when we did the spinal cord. It's too big. So this is showing that opening. What was that called?
Spongy urethra.
Yeah, it's a spongy urethra. So then this tissue surrounding the spongy urethra, that's the what? Corpus spongiosum. Okay, so corpus spongiosum, and it could go around the edge. There it is there. Some of you got in close and you were able to recognize some smooth muscle fibers in there. These are collagen fibers, and if you zoomed in close, you would be able to recognize that as collagen fibers. I trust that you would remember that looking like kind of the dense irregular, slide from way back. And it's weird in this slide because it's so much. The collagenous sheath is not supposed to be this extensive. Sometimes we get bad slides, so this is not the best slide. So this is the collagenous sheath with all those collagen fibers, and then there's also little sort of sprinklings of it coming into the corpus cavernosum. So not a great example. There's that artery that was in the corpus cavernosum. And so this over here is we're just getting kind of a mess of what corpus cavernosum is supposed to look like. So I don't really like this too well. Let's see if we can see this smooth muscle anywhere in here. So it's a mixture of fibers, and so it doesn't look like the smooth muscle maybe that you're used to seeing, but you can see little snippets of it. Maybe recognize it, like in here, it kind of looks like our typical looking smooth muscle. A little bit over here. And the elastic fibers, they really didn't stain for the elastic fibers here. You're not seeing what you typically looks like elastic fibers. Okay, so this is the corpus cavernosum, and it's smooth muscle, elastic tissue. All three of those cylinders are. So we'll use this slide in conjunction with the diagram to help you get the big picture. All right, let's do the kidney. That was probably the more challenging or most challenging one, in my opinion. Okay, so you we're supposed to recognize renal cortex from renal medulla. And so if you see the edge of the organ, even if it's just a little section of it, actually this one is the whole frontal section of the kidney. So there's the edge of the organ, and so what region are we looking in here?
Cortex.
That's the renal cortex, yeah. And so if you're in the renal cortex, you should see renal corpuscles. Those are the ones that stand out. Do you see any renal corpuscles?
Yes.
Yeah, these. And then you know, because you learned it, you're also going to see which of the tubule types?
Convoluted.
Yeah, the convoluted tubules, distal and proximal. You don't have to distinguish between the two. But this is the renal corpuscle. Remember, renal corpuscle is glomerulus plus the Bowman's capsule. And so then these passageways over here, this is a convoluted tubule. This is a little section of a convoluted tubule. Here's a section of a convoluted tubule. Looks like they got a little cross section of that one. And the tube's going all these different directions, so when you just take a section of it, you're going to get different views. So some of it looks like it's a long view, some of it looks like it's a cross section. That's why you're getting all those different looking sections. Okay, so what region of the kidney are we looking in? The cortex or the medulla?
Cortex.
Cortex. Okay, so then let's go back to the scanning view and see if we can see any sort of a change. Okay, I see renal corpuscles there still. Okay, no more there. No. So it looks like there's a change right in there. So we'll get a little closer. Okay, so there's cortex still. Over here it does start to look quite a bit different. Let's go back out again. Okay, so this is renal medulla. And you don't see the corpuscles, and it does look different. What structures should we find in here? Okay, not renal corpuscles and not distal or proximal convoluted tubules, but
Nephron loops.
yeah, nephron loop and
Collecting ducts.
collecting ducts. Yeah, so nephron loops and collecting ducts. And you don't have to differentiate them. This is one side. Let's see, the slide I was showing Destiny, I think was really easy to tell which was which. But so here's collecting ducts are simple cuboidal, so this looks probably a collecting duct, but you don't need to differentiate. The nephron loops are really skinny, probably in the part of a nephron loop right there.
So if you were to ask this, you would just say both in?
You could say either or.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then we need to go back for the parietal epithelium. And then just for that slide. Okay, so the parietal epithelium is part of the Bowman's capsule, and that's this layer here. All right, I'm going to move on for the sake of time. 3 is bladder. We're going to have to cover 2 more slides next time. Sorry, the picture's not great. Okay, well, hopefully you can see the epithelium. What kind of epithelium is that?
Transitional.
Yeah, that's transitional. This is a collapsed or empty bladder. So you can see the folds. The folds are the rugae. Wrinkles are folds. Like so, there's a fold. There's a fold. There's a fold. Okay, so this is the transitional epithelium there. Lamina propria and submucosa. Those are going to be the layers deep to it, deep to the transitional. So this all in here. Lamina propria is right behind epithelium, and then submucosa is going to be deeper. And then for smooth muscle, layers should change, look a little different. Not like my resolution at all. What's going on here? It doesn't really look like smooth muscle, but it's because of the microscope. So that's your smooth muscle layer, and that's called the detrusor muscle, smooth muscle layer of the bladder. Pretty wide, goes down quite a ways. Okay, so that was bladder, and let's look at this is a little tiny one. Where is the needle on this one? So if there's one that takes me a long time to find, which slide do you think it is? Okay, so what's that?
The ureter.
That's the ureter, right? Pretty decent. Closer. What kind of epithelium?
Transitional.
Much better. Transitional. So here it is here. And then what's this layer back here that backs the transitional called?
The mucus.
Yeah, it's the lamina propria. So the whole thing is the mucosa, just like with the digestive system. The mucosa, that's just another name for mucous membrane. So mucosa, mucous membrane, mucosa. Okay, and then what's this here? It doesn't have a name, but what kind of tissue is that?
Smooth muscle.
That's the smooth muscle, yeah. Good. Pushing that urine down towards the bladder. And very kind of thin. What's this layer here?
Adventitia.
Yeah, it's adventitia, which is mainly collagen fibers. Okay, we'll do the uterus next time. We're going to cover reproductive then anyway, so it worked out. Okay, great job, Steve.